It symbolizes the way that kiritsugu came in and allowed Irie to escape from that imprisonment of being just a lonely homunculus destined to be used as another just another tool. It's great. It's some good shit. Oh my god. Okay, so is Fate Zero starting out extremely strong? You're damn straight, Fate Zero is starting off really well. Okay, to be frank with you, that was one of the most intense and amazing, just like, it gets you in there. It gets you ready for season 2. This is the perfect episode to get you ready for the rest of the show. This is so amazing. Just the pacing is absurdly fast and chaotic, but that's exactly what it should be here. I mean, we're in fucking battle territory. The war is getting crazy. We've got like an immortal Cthulhu monster on the loose. Different games, different ideologies, different people with their own. The best thing about Fate for me is how everyone has their own way of thinking and their own way of acting upon it. Take someone like Gilgamesh, for example, who can give less of a shit about anything and just wants to sit back on his throne and watch because it's entertaining to him. That's brilliant. I don't know a lot of other series that have so many third-party forces that are so integral to the plot but have different ways that they interject into the narrative and have so many ways that their ideologies influence the narrative. It's really cool. You have people like Castor and Saber who Castor, oh my god. This is becoming Donzo all over again. Jesus Christ, I hate myself. We have people like Lancer and Saber who are the chivalrous type, who are set in that way. We have the insanity of Castor and Ryunosuke, a third party in Irie, a support backup from her, Kirei, the wild card, Kariya, also a wild card that appears as a surprise force, Tokiomi, just that blunt force, kind of bow down, get things done, but don't stray from a singular path kind of guy. It's so well interjected into the story, and I adore that. So my little piece there is okay. I also want to touch on something before we get truly really well into the discussion. Is my friend has who's a huge Fate fan, has talked to me a lot about people's critiques and complaints about season 1, because apparently some people actually really don't like the first half of Fate Zero, and a lot of people's critiques is that Fate Zero's world building is bad because we're never shown the effects of the citizens that aren't a part of like Magi or certain like families or servants or masters, and immediately season 2 wipes the fucking floor with your complaint. Like that's why you shouldn't judge a story until it's completely finished. People argue, well, yeah, but you can judge season 1. You can say that as season 1 it lacked that, and that may be a problem for you. But as a conclusive whole, Fate Zero relies on both parts to be complete. That you're basically saying, I read. Imagine if Lord of the Rings. The Fellowship of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, was split into two halves, and they were split into 2 different books. You can't read the first book and complain that this one character got sidelined, or that this one piece of world building was a bit poor, when you haven't finished the fucking story that the author put out. Like, if it's already confirmed that the story isn't finished and that there's a second half, save your critiques for that when it's finished. You can conclusively argue, well, it might be a problem in the first half, but if it gets rectified in the second half, then what's the fucking point of your argument there? I don't get that, because we see here that this giant Cthulhu battle is actively engaging near the Fuyuki shore, and people are seeing it. People are coming to watch. Kirei's father is going to have to do some damage control so that people aren't aware of the Grail War. Number two, the church is set up in place so that people that they do their churchly duties, but they also make sure that normal citizens don't know about the Grail War. Same with a lot of the families. Like, do you think these people are stupid enough to like let everybody know what the fuck is going on? That's like, I don't know, that just seems stupid to me. Do you think there's just some things that like critiques and problems that don't make sense to me. They just really don't make sense to me at all. But you know, enough of that rant. I hope you can get what I'm trying to say. They put the people's perspective and the world building into the plot really well in the first episode of season 2, showing that the actual people are affected by the Grail War, not just masters and servants and the royal Magi families. So there you go. All right, let's go ahead and get started talking about my points piece by piece as we get into the episode. So the beginning of the episode reflects on what I just saw. We see some Navy SEALs or some ship, like at least people have been sent out to get a close look at this Cthulhu monster as the reports have been coming in, showing that it is affecting the people and people are getting scared by it. One thing, the presentation has gone up way so since the first season. That's another plus. Animation is looking much more smooth, much more refined. The movement is snappy. The lighting is even more, what's the word I'm looking for? The lighting, this is not the word that I was looking for, but this is the way I'm going to describe it. The lighting pops out more and perfectly reflects the tone and setting. Like it did in season 1, but it's doing an even better job. Like the purples and the blues in this episode are fucking gorgeous. There is so much attention to detail, like with Saber's slashes. You can see bits of tongue, bits of flesh, and you can even see the teeth falling off of the part of the tentacles and pieces of the Cthulhu monster. It overall looks really good. Oh, come on. I don't want to listen to the dub. Sorry. I have a version that has both the dub and the sub, and whenever I click on the episode again, I have to switch back to the sub. Not to diss on the dub, it's just I'm so used to the sub voices that it's jarring hearing the dub ones. So they make a good point of showing just how tired Saber is because of her handicap, which is great. I'm glad that they are still showing that as a prudent piece of her weakness here, because a lot of series will just kind of have bad writing where they forget things like that, in which like a character should definitely be injured but end up just doing stuff that they shouldn't be able to. A lot of series make that mistake sometimes, but they're holding true to the actual thing that they set up here. This is this episode is chaotic, kind of like the nature of what Cthulhu, Ryunosuke, and Caster represent, as we switch a lot of perspectives a lot, but I would say there is a big focus on Ryunosuke as well. Ryunosuke is chanting "The God is with us." He's freaking out. His voice acting is so well done. It's over the top, but with this, I wouldn't even know how to describe it. It is just a perfect voice. It is just a literal perfect voice for Ryunosuke. So Kirei and his father start talking, and Kirei's father is just like, you know, Kirei, this is actually really crazy. In the Grail War's history, there's never been a failure such as this. Meaning there's never been such a bad attack or a bad like thing that happened to where it would alert this many people. And this is another counterpoint to people's claims about why don't more normal citizens know about the Grail War, because it's being kept under wraps. It's a secret. It's basically the fucking Illuminati of fate, if you will. Illuminati is a bad comparison because everybody knows the name Illuminati, but what I'm saying is it's like a secret kind of wrapped in, you know. It's meant to be a secret. The average Joe isn't supposed to know about it. Like, yeah. I like how Kirei's dad actually says he's gonna have to do some damage control, which is another and cover this up. Another good point to show that they're very, very well suited to keep this stuff under wraps, and I do enjoy that. So Kirei is sent to go assist Tokiomi, like he usually is, and he's still very Kirei-like, cold and just very, like, oh, wakata. You know what I mean? Like that. So we cut back to Gilgamesh in a great scene where Gilgamesh is actually finds the Cthulhu monster to be utterly hideous. For him to say that, oh yeah, it must be disgusting. He even relays that although the servants down there are mongrels, they are still supposedly famous warriors. So yet not even together they can finish that disgusting thing. I love the callousness in his wording and his voice acting. How very pathetic. Just he's so perfect. Gil's awesome. He even I love the shot where it's so good. It reminds me of the Kingdom Hearts box art with Sora. Tokiomi sitting on his throne, hand up to his cheek, pondering. Other hand with his wine, and it's just a good shot. Tokiomi is far away from him, like the mongrel that he is. How dare he even get close to Gil? This is an amazing part of this episode. Tokiomi decides that it's a great idea to beg Gilgamesh to help take out this threat, and this is amazing. Just let me explain why. King, that monster is a destructive pest that tears apart your gardens, and immediately I in my mind know Gilgamesh enough as a character that I commented, but that's not his job. Gilgamesh is the king. People trim gardens for the king. Like, the fuck you talking about? The lowly commoners kill the pests. The king sits above and orders them to do so, or has people order them for him. And to Gilgamesh, this is just like coming off to be, how dare you tell me what to do? This is your job. Get the fuck out of my presence. Great stuff. Great dialogue. Great character interaction here. And the funny thing is, Tokiomi's trying to make some sort of sense in his mind, but he himself doesn't even understand Gilgamesh enough, which you'd think he'd try to, but he's too ignorant. I implore you to execute it, as he bows. Gilgamesh is just like, that would be a gardener's work. Or Tokiomi, do you dare imply that my noble phantasm is nothing more than a gardener's spade? I love that. I love that so much. Not at all! But as you can see, the others are unable to handle it themselves! This is an excellent chance to display the power wielded by a true hero. I beg you. You can just see how this does not please Gilgamesh. This fucking pisses him off. You can just see in his face. As he just goes from just We cut to Iskandar fighting against I forgot about this. Iskandar fighting against this Cthulhu, and he has to dodge. He's like, woo! He has to dodge because Gilgamesh sends down four of his swords from his noble phantasm. I love just him being up top, almost like God, throwing down like basically bolts of lightning from the heavens just to see what happens. Everyone looks above like, holy shit. It's just fitting, Tokiomi's like, wait, it's regenerating! So this thing has regeneration abilities, and it can regenerate extremely fast. We're talking like Majin Buu kind of levels here. So it is scary. And then Gilgamesh is just like, we're leaving Tokiomi. I cannot bear to look upon that nauseating thing further. This is just amazing because I don't think I see this often in a series where a character, while being so important, can just say, let's just fucking leave. That this is gay. Like, this is stupid. That thing is so they can handle it. Fuck this shit. This isn't my job. I appreciate that. I love it. I love Gilgamesh. I have sacrificed 4 of my swords and spears for you. As if Gilgamesh is acting like 4 is just so much to him. Just like they are his possessions after all. For him to use them to help a fucking mortal is kind of like, you better be thankful. I used fucking 4 of them for you. I love it. Now that they have touched that thing, I no longer even desire their return. Do not impinge further on my generosity. Some people are going to be salty. I love. Okay, I find it when a character does things like this, if like you know Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender, she has this Gilgamesh like attitude. But for her, I find it just disgusting and it pisses me off and I hate watching it. But when it's from Gilgamesh, I'm just like, hey, oh my god, that's great. It just really goes to show how characters being written differently changes how you feel when they do the same shitty actions or act shitty. Okay, I love how this is a really good part. We've never seen Gilgamesh this angry before. Um, Tokiomi continues to beg for Gilgamesh to just let everything go and please take care of this. I just the only thing that could capture it is your sword of rep. Dude, Gilgamesh's scream there is really good. He even drops his wine. You would have me draw my greatest treasure here? Know your place, Tokiomi. God, that's great. God, that's great. That is really awesome. That is just really cool. Tokiomi backs down and he even thinks to use a command cell, but decides it's in his best interest not to, and I'm glad that he decides not to, because that would be absolutely stupid, as it would greater strain the relationship between the two. So we'll skip a little past Berserker. Oh, and this isn't where Berserker shows up. We get to see some cool aerial spinning shots with the aircraft, in which we get to see the full extent of the tentacles' range and powers. Seeing them get sucked inside, and it looks like the Cthulhu consumes its people and adds them to its like collective consciousness stock, as we can see with all the eyes. So that's very scary. That's definitely a fate worse than death. So, you know, best not to have that. Eventually, believe it or not, Berserker shows up in a very. I was not expecting that. This is great. He takes control of this jetliner thing. I love Gilgamesh's response. Oh, the mad dog again! Omoshiroi. And then freaking Tokiomi says, I shall engage his master. So, and I didn't really put this together, but I was how fitting it is for them to finally see each other after so long, after everything. It's great. And Gilgamesh, very well, go and play with him. Give this dog a chew toy. How about you be his little chew toy, Tokiomi? Okay, I didn't get this shot, but there's a cool switching shot where they switch over to Kirei, who's walking towards the battle where Cthulhu's at, and he's aiming to go assist Tokiomi. But I'm going to tell you why I had other thoughts about that as soon as we get to the scene. There's something edging in my mind that has me a little concerned. We get to see kiritsugu for a bit. We have a awesome fight between Gilgamesh and the Berserker. Inside the or controlling the aircraft. I love how much fun Gilgamesh is having, as this excites him and actually brings him a great amount of pleasure. It's not that boring. It's actually quite fun. He hasn't done this in a long time. And we finally get to a confrontation I'm so happy we got to see. Tokiomi and Kariya. Very short-lived, but definitely well worth it. A lot of great dialogue exchanges here, and a lot to digest, so this is going to take a while, but please bear with me as we really dig in. You certainly changed for the worse, Mato Kariya. Just that alone is enough to get Kariya angry as he sees Tokiomi, and why wouldn't he be? It's just such a odd choice of words to speak to him after everything he's been through. Sure, Tokiomi may not know the extent of what Soken has put Sakura and him through, but he's still speaking so fucking just rude to Kariya. We get into Tokiomi's ideology a little bit more, and how much he is very much a part of this flawed magi world class system, which is very idealistic and absurd. This is realistic though. This isn't just like fucking far-fetched. I'll get into that some more. You abandoned magecraft, but we're still drawn to the Grail. So this is because this is peculiar for Tokiomi, because why would someone who abandoned magecraft still be drawn to the Grail? What purpose could you want it for? Because he doesn't know why Kariya wants the Grail. And now you've returned looking like that. Your disgraceful behavior, that really pissed me off. Because it's like, my disgraceful behavior, and this is how I would react, reflects very poorly on the Matos. So as you can see, the Tosaka and Mato family are actually not too estranged. They're relatively close, not in the sense that they're basically buddies, but that they have some respect for each other, and that they have enough. They basically see it fit for each other to thrive in the Magi world. Tokiomi, just he really does think in such a classist way, if you really think about it. I love how Kariya starts to laugh. Tosaka, Tokiomi, I have one question for you. I was so happy that he just asked him right away. No other words needed, just right to the point. Why did you give Sakura to Zoken? The question that would decide if Kariya would decide to kill Tokiomi is, I think, why he was asking this. He wanted a reason. He wanted to decide if it was a good enough reason to spare Tokiomi's life. Because I think that he just needed to know. Not only did he need to know, but he needed a reason not to be angry at Tokiomi. Tokiomi is just as confused. Should he really be concerned with that right now? This made me mad too. Answer me, Tokiomi. There is nothing to say. I simply wish my daughter to have a bright future. So, in Tokiomi's mind, sending Sakura to the Matos was a blessing, because of the whole two mage, the two, you know, the how they have two kids, one of them, you know, blah blah blah. However, he does not know the pain and suffering that Sakura has gone through, because the way that the Matos get their strength is, I think, very much a secret, like the whole worms stuff. So to be fair, Tokiomi doesn't know, but it's still really fucked up, just giving up your daughter like that, especially with how much Tokiomi's wife and Sakura and Rin's mother is honestly a piece of shit to me. Any mage with two children must face a painful dilemma. This was explained earlier, but this is some more of it. Only one may inherit the family secrets, which is such a weird system in place, but I guess it makes sense. It's similar to like royal families when they have like two kids and only one of them can become king or the successor to the throne, blah 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 blah. So that does make sense. The other must be cast out to become one of the... Okay, that pissed me off. That just... So what he's basically saying here is that one deserves to be kept to a life of ease and a life of like a good, just simple life with privilege. The other deserves to be cast out like riffraff among the crowd. is basically what Tokiomi's saying here. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. This really cuts deep into Kariya's skin. This line is really weird. Honestly, Tokiomi has the same emotionless expression that kiritsugu and kirei have, but it is so much more different than that. It's cold and pained, but it almost has this sense of not wanting to acknowledge that part of oneself and not wanting to change, just refusing to do anything about it, just stay in this shitty situation and believe in your bullshit that you've been spewed at since you were a child, to carry on this bullshit system, this caste system. My wife's womb was too bountiful, meaning that they had 2 children, both Rin and Sakura were born with a rare level of potential. So they were, I think they were born in just the right part of the family at the right time, and they got lucky to be born with such rare level of magic potential. So that is why one needed to be given up, because only one can inherit the family secrets. Both daughters required the protection provided by a mage clan to destroy. Let's. To destroy the possibilities held by one for the sake of the other. Like, I get the dilemma here. It would be a parent's worst nightmare, right? To have to give up one so that one can prosper. It's the it's the whole thing of a burglar comes into your house, puts a gun up to your head, and says, "Which child do you want to live? Yeah, this one or this one?" How are you supposed to choose? How are you supposed to pick a favorite here? So I perfectly understand what Tokiomi means here, but the way he speaks of his own children as being merely fucking tools, and the way that he calls Sakura, goddamn, I'm sorry, I'm speaking too much. It's starting to get hard to talk. Sakura, like riffraff, being thrown out of the fucking rabble. Like, just screw off, Tokiomi. Screw off. I can't sympathize with you like this. I can understand you, but I cannot sympathize with you. The one of the rabble just really cuts into Kariya still as he remembers the time in the garden, not garden, in the little play place, where Sakura and Rin and the thought mom would just play with each other and have fun. Oh, I love how I didn't even notice this. Sakura's giving a 4-leaf clover to Rin. I wonder what that. If, I'm reading too deep. I was thinking if this could symbolize something about luck, and how, although Sakura had luck to be destined as a powerful and awesome mage, she gave that away to Rin, as much as she was given away so that Rin could prosper. So, you know what I mean. I think too much sometimes. We get a really good music track here. Really beautiful stuff. He would simply dismiss them as rabble. What the fuck, Tokiomi? Kariya is just kind of sickened by this. To fulfill my wish that both their talents might be developed, I had no choice but to send one away to be adopted. On So, the Mato family's request was like a blessing from heaven. This interests me. I know that one of the fates is Heaven's Feel, and there's a lot of mention of heaven. I wonder if that has to do with anything. As a clan that knows of the Grail, their odds of reaching the root becomes that much greater. The root. Have we learned about the root? What is the root? Is this fucking Naruto? Seriously, the Fate theme is so good. Or the main theme of Zero is what I call it. I call it the Fate theme because I haven't seen any other Fates, but the theme to Zero is really good. A mage is one who is born with power. I love the panning shots as the purple hue in the background. Looks great. And one who will someday attain still greater power. Even before they are aware of this fate. Responsibility lies in their blood. This is the argument of your fate is basically decided once you are born into a family. Your blood decides that fate. I know this series relies a lot on fate. It's called Fate, for fuck's sake, but this is a good point by Tokiomi. That it's kind of inescapable because they have this blood. That this is what it means to be born as a mage child, which gives you the argument of, is it worth it? Sure, you get to be a powerful mage and renowned, but is it worth it? You know, take someone like Waver who desires this. Is it truly the right choice for Waver to have grown up like this? If I cannot attain it, Rin will, and even if Rin cannot, Sakura will. This pisses me off because he's basically saying I've doubled the chances of one of them succeeding, because where one won't, one will. You see where I'm getting at here? And I that's such flawed fucking logic there. She will carry on the Tosaka family's wishes because of the blood that she carries. She's linked to that fate, even if I gave her away. The thing is, you're speaking from absolute fucking what if scenarios. You don't know this for a fact. You're speaking out of your ass, Tokiomi. Kariya just like, Kisama, you'd have them fight sister against sister? Yeah, even should that happen, my descendants will be happy. Oh, that fucking smug face, man. Woo! That is one time I would want to punch Tokiomi. The glory goes to you if you are the victor. So he thinks of this as a dog-eat-dog world where it's the victor. Yeah, I guess I could see Tokiomi having that kind of ideology. And if you are not a ghost of your ancestors' clan, could a more joyous battle exist? You're insane! It isn't even worth the trouble of trying to explain it to you. Oh, you fucking pompous dick. Not to a man who was blind to Maidcraft's nobility, let alone a traitor who turned his back on it. To Tokiomi, Kariya is a worse person because he's betrayed his own family line. Because that's heresy. Shut up. The worms start to take effect on Kariya's body as his blood starts to boil. We get some more cool fight scenes between Gil and Berserker. Some cool stuff there. Really awesome animation and just great spectacle. We cut back to Kariya, who says, I'll never forgive you people. You disgusting mages. I'll kill you. This is when, this is the confirmation that Kariya needed. He knows enough now to where there's nothing that can redeem Tokiomi in his eyes. He will kill him. And I just gotta say, I'm actually with Kariya here. I'm actually with him. I'm rooting so hard for him. His voice acting is amazing here. You can just hear the pain in his voice, but also the increasing animosity and the looming insanity that's coming over him. It's really good. You refused to carry on the Mato line, so its magics went to Sakura. Perhaps I should thank you. But even so, I cannot forgive you either. So they're basically the same thing on each other's end, but from a different point of view. I love how, okay, noticing this again, I love how Kirei is just watching. Kirei is just standing from afar observing, taking a page from Gilgamesh, are we, Kirei? Your weakness in running from the responsibility of your blood. Your baseness in failing to see anything wrong in doing so. I will admit that this is an interesting philosophy and worldview that Tokiomi has because of the caste system that he's in. I like it. I don't agree with it, but I do like the perspective. Having once more encountered one another, what else can I do but kill you? So they're basically saying, alright, let's kill each other. No redeeming each other. Shut the hell up, you inhuman monster! And I agree with Kariya. I believe that Tokiomi is much more inhuman than he'd like to believe. Tokiomi makes a great point. Taking responsibility for yourself is the first condition of being a human. But the thing is, you're being a bit of a hypocrite, Tokiomi. When are you going to take responsibility for your misdeeds, your actions, your baseless assumptions on other people, your misguided actions? When are you going to take responsibility for it instead of cowering down in your ideology that bickers upon your own fucking bloodline? Like, you act so perfect. When are you going to own up to that, you fucking you hypocrite? But that's to show that every character has holes and flaws in the way of their thinking. Good stuff. It's not so black and white. I love the magic, the magic, whatever the hell that little. It's a square and diamond with like little circles, or it's just really cool. Is that a rhombus? I'm fucking stupid. I'm sorry. I cannot believe that the irony of Tokiomi calling Kariya a dog, when I believe that Gilgamesh would laugh and say, you would call someone other than yourself a dog when you yourself cower the floor before me? Come on, you're boring. You can't even stand up for yourself against me. You cower behind your fucking idiocy, and I'm mad. I'm sorry. He's a fucking hypocrite, is what I'm saying. So Kariya basically engages insect attack. Pokemon go. So okay, this scene. We see how Kirei has his fucking Wolverine claws out, and he puts them away, and it looks like he's gonna leave. Okay, so this is just my interpretation. I could be getting this wrong. I think, personally, they might have you think that Kirei was coming to assist Tokiomi and take down Kariya by any means. But no. I disagree with you. I have a feeling that Kirei wanted to kill Tokiomi. But this conversation was interesting enough to him. Kariya is interesting to him, remember? This persuaded him not to see what happens. He's not going to pick a side here. He's going to see what happens, and after that, make a final crucial decision. Because I think Gil has gotten to Kirei. I think Kirei is starting to recognize just how fragile Tokiomi is, and I think Kariya is helping reinforce that. So I think sooner rather than later, Kirei is going to betray Tokiomi. So we cut back to my boy Ryunosuke, F in the chat. He's just going nuts. He's having a good time. I love how he's just with all the other people. If I was one of the bystanders, I'd be like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? This whole place is God's toy box. We're at Toy Story. Oh! Some more good fight scenes. We get to see more of Ryunosuke's. I've heard, my friend has told me that people complain and say that Ryunosuke is a cliche and a basic character, and that he has no ideology. Are you guys dumb? I don't mean to be a dick here. Rewatch the finale to Fate Zero Season 1. Rewatch that episode and try to dig deep into the philosophy that Caster and Ryunosuke have. Because there's a lot there, and a lot of it is actually applicable to how people actually think. If there is a God, why would he allow such suffering? Is the fucking main point that they're trying to make. So, by showing God that we can create just as much suffering by our own hands, it's kind of a big middle fucking finger to his existence. Is he real? Is he not? That's the question here. There's a lot more to it. So, Ryunosuke thinks he's happy here. He thinks that he's finally achieved something that can erase the boredom. I could just sit back and watch them die, crushed, torn apart, smashed! Eaten! They'll die and die! I'll see all kinds of guts and gore I've never seen before! Every day, around the world, everywhere! I love his voice acting there, it's so good. Just his blushes, he's just like, aha! And this happened. I wasn't expecting this. Ryunosuke gets shot by kiritsugu and the irony is that he's experiencing true ecstasy, a fleeting feeling. He feels like he's finally achieved his desire to see something. Hey, what was that? He can't even tell that he's been shot yet. The adrenaline is so much that he can't even tell. And he looks at the blood on himself, and it's just like, whoa, wow, that's so pretty. And then we see Kiritsugu with the sniper aimed. We get a little bit more. Oh, this is great. Ryunosuke starts to rub the wound and says, I get it. Yeah, that's why I never noticed. Sometimes you can't see what's right in front of you. You have any idea how applicable this is to so many things, not just from Ryunosuke's perspective? God, it's great. What I was looking for, it was in my own guts. This whole time. Ryunosuke can tell that, honestly, as much as I don't like Caster, I like the bond that Ryunosuke and Caster have. I really do. Seeing Caster actually pained to see Ryunosuke go, and his like, it actually is kind of sad. I did not want Ryunosuke to go. It's a really good story when a crazy psychopathic piece of shit like Ryunosuke dying is something that I didn't want to see. I finally found it. It's the voice acting is so good. It's so good. Because here, Ryunosuke has made a stunning realization, and I'll give my thoughts on what it could be, because I think it's up to interpretation in a lot of ways. His voice sounds so relieved, and it doesn't sound crazy anymore, believe it or not. This final line is one that sounds genuine. That's powerful voice acting there. It just sounds genuine. That line, oh, I'm gonna gush. I'm seriously gonna gush, my guy. It was inside me all along. It's the thing here, you know? I finally found it. And he actually smiles genuinely. I've been searching for it forever. What's wrong with you? If it was inside me, why didn't you ever tell me? You should have just told me. I don't know who Ryunosuke's talking to here. I have three possibilities. One, he's talking to himself, as if to call himself a fool not to realize sooner, and that his perverted actions could have been avoided if he just looked inside of himself to see. I think that we're coming to an interesting perspective here, where some people argue that God isn't God can be seen in different ways. God can be seen in oneself. That we are all like a piece of God, if you will. That one can be God. I'm not trying to speak in some crazy loony way. Just hear me out here. It's the idea of finding God within yourself. Is I think the takeaway here that Ryunosuke realized that that's what he was searching for all along, and it may sound cliche, but when you break it down, it's actually quite deep and fucking beautiful in a way. To find that true beauty within yourself, rather than seeking it in other ways, is something that a lot of us lose sight of, I feel. And it's an exact perversion that led Ryunosuke down the wrong path, honestly. He could be talking to God, actually, like God in the sky. Like, how could you? Why didn't you tell me that it was within myself the whole time? Or three, he could be talking to Caster. But honestly, I think that he's talking to himself there. It's just me though. So the final shot goes right to Ryunosuke's head. Rest in peace, Ryunosuke. And they did a good job of showing us that he's actually dead by removing the command seal off of his hand. So this is our first master dead. Rip. Caster is actually pained by this. You have died and left me all alone. This is a really good line coming up. But do not worry, Ryunosuke. For I, Girisderai, shall fulfill my... I love the heroic theme. Shall fulfill my promise to you. Behold, Ryunosuke! A gift to see you to the next world! The greatest coup! What a good send-off. Like, okay, you gotta be real here. Caster's actually kind of a bro. Why am I low-key rooting for Caster, kind of? Why? Oh, man. Okay, Ryunosuke's death. Ironic and fitting for his character. So beautiful, so great, just amazing. Well done is what I've got to say. Well done. Okay. Let's get into the final part of this episode because there's a decent chunk to talk, and I know this discussion is not long enough already. But I've shot the man who believed to be Caster's master. Piece where you're right. Blah 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 blah. We got him. Cool. Maya asks, "Shall we eliminate our next target while the servants deal with a monster?" Wait, Maya, that is no mere monster. It's an immortal creature that infinitely regenerative. It will reach the shore before it vanishes. So we've got to take him out here and now. If it starts feeding, it's all over. We're on a time limit. With a new source of mana, Caster can sustain his material form. The damage would only spread at that point. Yep. The Holy Grail War itself would need to be abandoned, which is not something that is ideal, is it? This is really good. But how do we eliminate an immortal monster? As the theme song comes roaring in. Our only option is to destroy it all at once. To destroy every single scrap of it. Completely incinerating it in a single strike. We cut to a shot of Lancer. Anti-personnel or anti-armor noble phantasms won't be enough. We need an anti-fortress noble phantasm. And we cut to Saber. Because if you remember, her class can dictate that she can ride everything but very legendary creatures like dragons and shit. So, and Saber possesses one. Unfortunately, Lancer's curse leaves her unable to use it now. I think Excalibur could be used to defeat this beast as a certain thing if he wasn't handicapped, or if she wasn't handicapped. So what he's alluding to here is we kind of need to take out Lancer, but he actually leads into something different. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to get to the line again. I say that we have them show us this chivalry that they are so proud of. I wonder what that can allude to. I wonder if Kiritsugu is going to set up a battle between the two where they're going to have to put everything on the line against each other, or if he wants them to work together, use their chivalry to his advantage. Like kind of, you know, put it up against their face like, y'all are knights, right? Wow. That can lead to many things. Either a battle between Saber and Lancer to the death, or Saber and Lancer teaming up once again for the finale to take down this creature. But then it's like, what do we do after that? Are we gonna fight each other after that? Or are we gonna kill each other after that? Or oh god. You know what would be fucked up? Is if Lancer works together with Saber and they defeat this thing. But in the end, but get this. In the end, Lancer's betrayed by Kiritsugu, you know, the Saber's master, and just killed like on the spot. Oh yeah, that would be dark. That would be a poetic end to Lancer because it would be ironic. But fuck me, that'd be insane. I think a lot's going through Kiritsugu's head right now. He's thinking of a lot of different outcomes and a lot of different strategies, but he wants to use the chivalry to his advantage, and I think that's a smart play from him. Really cool stuff. So I'm just gonna end this right here. I think I've talked long enough. This episode was splendid, superb. What a brilliant, amazing introduction back into Fate Zero. The second half has started out strong, easily a 10 out of 10 first episode. Just utterly fucking fantastic. And a lot of people, yes, this episode had a lot of spectacle, but also had a lot of dialogue, which is, you know, it adds to it. You can't just have fights and fights and fights. You need the dialogue to be the main meat and potatoes. You see, in my opinion, fights are supplementary to everything else. You don't necessarily need fights, but if you do, they should add to everything else rather than take away or just be there just to be there, if you get what I'm saying. I hope you enjoyed all my theories and my discussion and my unraveling of the characters, because this was truly amazing, and I can't wait for the next one. If you stay all the way to the end, you are legendary, and if you did stay it all the way to the end, I'm going to give you a code word to type into the comment box so that you can tell me that you did. Okay? If you did, I want you to type in. You listening? Mongrel. Pretty normal, right? Just do that, and I'll know that you made it to the end. But seriously, though, all kidding aside, thank you so much for staying all the way to the end. It really does help me out, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for your continued support, everyone. I just want to let you know that whether it's morning, evening, day, or night, wherever it is that you are, please stay safe out there. And be sure to take care. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. See you laters. That was really good. It was fucking great.